What's going on tonight? Hopefully y'all were doing well. I'm starting a little early today as far as the countdown goes. I didn't want that to go the whole 10 minutes. I'm gonna just get started now because I'm already a few hours behind schedule right now. So if you'll do me a favor, drop your name, location in the comments. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, just, say hi, say something. I want to know that I'm getting feedback in real time. And I just want to talk about a topic tonight that a friend of mine and I were talking about this morning. We were talking about how not everybody's open to talking about the same things, especially as it relates to like financial goals, business goals, whatever the case is. Like whatever relates to finances, whether it's like early retirement, whether it's building a business for yourself, whether it's doing a lot of things, you do have to be kind of in the right place at the right time around the right people. So here's what I want to go ahead and break down for you. I'm going to jump straight into it. So there's no word of the day, no question of the day. I just want y'all to hear what I'm saying. And I want to also hear your feedback. I want to see if you agree with what I'm saying. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break down this disclaimer. This show is for educational purposes only. I'm not a licensed advisor. Nothing I share should be considered financial advice, and always do your own due diligence. So I do have a slightly different setup today. I'm just kind of going to say whatever is on my mind because I didn't have a whole lot of, I didn't really have a big planning session for this particular episode. I just thought of a bunch of topics that kind of get me fired up. They kind of get me started, and I wanted to kind of share some of those with you and see what you thought about it, see what your thoughts were on that as well. And so I have a few things. I'll read them off to you real quick. So here are some taboo financial topics, and they should not be. These are things that we should talk about quite often, to be perfectly honest with you. So life insurance is a taboo topic. Early retirement is a is a taboo topic on its own. And we're going to jump straight into these. Like we're going to really get into how I feel about these topics and what I think is the downfall of why they're taboo and why they shouldn't be, type of thing. Quitting your job, job hopping. They kind of go together, but they're still different. Investing in and out of retirement. Say that again, investing in and out of retirement. My favorite one though is how much money you really make. Like actually being transparent with yourself versus trying to flex. Like the fake rich versus actual rich type of thing. Talking to your partner about money early in the relationship. That is crucial, and I've got to say this needs to happen sooner than later if you are in a relationship. It has to. It's not really a negotiable. If you try to push it off for too long and y'all are not aligned financially, things can get disrupted real quick, and that can lead to a breakup. And I'm going to let y'all know that right now. Being cheap isn't always the smart thing to do. Being the financial hero of your family can be extremely harmful. So like as you can see, I kind of have a lot of these and I still have 3 more. And of course this channel is for men, But this one that I'm about to say pertains to everyone. It just so happens to have the word men in it. But it says some men secretly resent their jobs, but stay for the comfort that the for the comfort because of the lifestyle that that job provides. And that's a very real thing. That's a very real problem, and we got to talk about it. We got to talk about all of these. Men compete financially with each other without even realizing it. You've ever been out to eat and two guys were like fighting over who's paying the bill, that type of thing. Um, and lastly, but certainly not least, why you hate budgeting. Because no one wants to talk about these things. When you see these personal finance channels on YouTube, some have views, but that's few and far between. I think in general, personal finances is like it's just now really being talked about and put out there on the internet. Like in 2017, when I was trying to understand and learn personal finances, I really wasn't getting much. It was just like, oh well, save your money. Oh yeah, I had no idea I should be saving my money. Had no idea, had no clue. I'm talking about strategies to save money. I'm talking about ways to make more money so I can easily save money. There wasn't a lot of information out there, especially when it comes to YouTube and the internet. You really had to know somebody or read a book or that type of thing. And that's crazy because that's less than 10 years ago, right? So that's something that we need to be thinking about and talking about on a consistent, and I mean on a very consistent basis. So we're going to jump into each one of these. I just read all, I think 12 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 12 of these. So we're going to jump into all of them. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, or if you have any concerns, feel free to reach out in the chat box. I will be looking at that throughout the night. And I might open up the Zoom call line if I see enough people join this. But for now, I have plenty to say on my own, to be perfectly honest. Let's start with life insurance. Life insurance is a taboo topic because I think a lot of people think that it's a scam. And I've heard the argument, well, this isn't going to me. I don't know how many times I have to say it on this channel or on this platform, but the thing we all got to realize is personal finances is not all about you. I know it's in the name personal, but you got to really think about this. Your family is also personal, right? And so you don't do this just for you. Like when you pass away, you want something to where your family can bury you without stressing out. You're basically being buried with the money that you provided through your life insurance policy. There's a plan, there's a contingency plan, there's also a plan for them to get money as well. So they can take time off work, they can grieve, they can do what they have to do, they can put whatever in place that they need to put in place. People need to talk about life insurance more. A lot of families avoid that topic for a really long time because, oh, I don't want to think about that. And we have to get out of our emotions when it comes to personal finances to begin with. It's not like I understand that money can be a topic that is tight for a lot of people, that deep emotions are tied back to. There's been things that you might not have been able to pay for that you needed to pay for at a certain time. And so you have like an emotional connection with money. But I'm here to tell you, if you're putting off important conversations because you're not ready, you're not going to be ready for anything in life that happens all of a sudden, because we don't know when death is going to happen. We don't know. How many of us have lost family members all of a sudden, weren't expecting anything. All of a sudden they were just found somewhere. Like, I don't want to get on a dark topic, but we have to talk about life insurance. We have to talk about what position is the family going to be put in if something happens to you. It's about being more thoughtful. It's about thinking about their well-being and what they're going to be going through when you're no longer here, especially if you're the head of the household. But everyone needs it, even people who are not heads of the household, because like I said, death can be sudden. Car accidents happen. Things happen out of nowhere. People choke. I mean, you never really know when it's going to be your day. So when it comes to life insurance, you have to have that on lock and in place, and it has to be set up to where the people understand what the plan is if something happens to you. Your family, your friends, your kids, whatever the case is, it's going to be different for everybody. But life insurance is of the utmost importance. And of course, if you have family changes, you get remarried or something like that, or you just get older, the people in your life that you were otherwise going to share the money with, they passed away, or whatever the case may be, that's when you update your life insurance policy, and specifically with who the beneficiaries are going to be. This isn't the most exciting topic, but it is an important topic. We have to get away from what's exciting and what's emotionally comfortable. We need to be looking at what is going to be the most helpful and the most useful for the family. And then we can look at excitement on the other side of that. Does that make sense? If y'all have any questions, or if y'all want to add anything to that, let me know. But I do also want to put out there that there's different types of life insurance. There's term life. There's they call it universal life, where it's like tied to the market, but like when the market drops, you just don't gain anything. And then when the market goes up, you gain something, but it's capped out at a certain percentage. Excuse me. There's life insurance where it doesn't grow quite as fast as that. There's life insurance where it's whole life, and you literally build it for your whole life, and it has monetary value. And a lot of people don't agree with that, but the thing is, if you're a higher net worth individual, it might be something worth looking into. People say, oh, it's a scam, it's not worth it, you're spending X amount of money per month. It's like not even that much money per month. I've gotten straight up fried on this channel for like sharing my own personal financial journey, where I'm like, yeah, I have term life and I have whole life and I have life insurance that work. And just like discussing what I'm personally doing for my life, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. That money could be doing better somewhere else. This is money that I'm setting aside that is not for me. That's what I got to get through some of y'all's thick skulls. This is not for me. This is for other people. So that's what life insurance is all about. That's why it kind of just baffles me. Somebody makes a choice in life, let them make the choice. And if they're wrong and they're persistent on making that choice, just let them be wrong. But if the money's not for them anyway, does it really matter? Because a lot of us spend money on things that aren't, or that are for us, but the money's going straight down the drain, and we never use whatever it is that we buy, or we buy whatever it is, like food or something, and it's gone the next second, and you just spent all that money, and it really wasn't even a need. That caliber of food, I should say, wasn't even a need. And half the time, it's not healthy food choices. I'm going to just say, I told y'all, tonight, I'm going to just say whatever's on my mind. When I see certain words, they get me to really going about these things. But life insurance is something you definitely should sit down with your family about and talk about. Say, hey, listen, it's going to be a tough discussion. You don't want to go there. You don't want to imagine me not being here, but we need to talk about this. It doesn't have to be an everyday conversation, but it needs to be a conversation every now and then. Not even every week or nothing crazy like that. I just encourage more families to talk about it, because I done seen, people passing away in my own family. And then that's when a lot of family fights happen, because they're arguing over who should pay for what, how are we going to do this, who's going to bury her, oh, she wanted this type of thing, he wanted this type of casket, whatever the case is. And it's like, we shouldn't be fighting during these times. Everybody's grieving, everybody's stressed all the way out, and it shouldn't be like that. If we had more people with life insurance policies, that is going to put you in a better position. It's going to put your family in a better position, and it's money that you won't miss, because it's money that you've already pre-dedicated to something else that has nothing to do with you. It's not like you're spending $700, $800, $900 a month on it. It might be $100 a month or $120 a month or something like that. So I'm just saying, when it comes to like whole life, because it is more expensive than term life. But if you don't agree with whole life, look into term life. Just remember, the term does end. So you'll need to go ahead and renew that once the term ends. Otherwise, if something happens like a day after the term is over with, it's going to be over with for everybody, because ain't going to be no money for nobody. That would be a waste of money if we want to get technical about it. Anyway, let me take a step. My cat is acting up if you heard a strange noise just now. All right. I'm pretty much done cooking on that topic right now, because I could literally go for hours on that. Let's talk about the second taboo topic right now: early retirement. Early retirement is mainly taboo for a few reasons. One, this has been on my mind since I was 21. Because at first, when I was in college, I was like, I want to climb the corporate ladder, eventually make six figures, and I just want to keep moving up, maybe become CEO someday. This is just like me in my mind. I can be a little delusional sometimes, so I genuinely believe I can do anything. And I'm just like, well, I'm 21, like I'm young, I got the energy. I can spend all the hours I want to at work and put in the time to learn what I need to learn and just keep climbing up, keep climbing up. Every couple of years, keep moving up, keep moving up. And I didn't really know what all that entailed, and I learned very well what it entailed. And I did climb the corporate ladder. I did make the six figures. I did all the things, but I got to thinking about early retirement when putting those hours in started becoming uh, less than desirable, for lack of a better term, because I was probably averaging 70, 75, 76 hours a week in that whole year. That's how many hours I was working per week compared to your typical 40. So I was really out there putting in the work, learning the lessons, going through it, sweating. I think I even cut myself one time at work by mistake when it was a heavy, intensive like manual labor type of thing, and I was definitely a manager there. But as a manager there, it's your job to help do some of the manual pieces of it. But anyway, blood and sweat. There were no tears though. Amen. Um, I'm just not a crier myself. But anyway, completely digressing from the point here. My point is that crucial experience and just being in a dark place at that time, not really knowing where it was going to end or why things were happening that were happening, why I was having to, it was always something like a manager on another shift quit, so now I'm having to cover two shifts and it's just one of us on each. And then we get somebody and then they quit and then I'm still covering both. And then we pull somebody from nights to go to days and then we're doing both. And then it's like something happens with him, he's suspended. I'm covering, but it's like always something. When I first started, someone who was covering the management role had to go back into an hourly role because somebody passed away and I had to lead a team that had just lost a team member and his wife was on that team and it's hard to have somebody working that just lost the husband. So that's like my first taste of like the job field. So I ended up learning about personal finances. I ended up learning about what all of it entailed and and I was like, you know what? There's a such thing as passive income. There's a such thing as making extra money. There's a such thing as like retiring early. What does this look like? And I started meeting some people and everything, and some people were like, yeah, my wife and I retired at 27, 30. I started meeting all these people, and granted, long story short, that ended up not being what I thought it was. So I'm gonna be very clear. This video is not like I guess advertising that, because that ended up being an MLM situation, which I did not like one bit. Like the experience was good, don't get me wrong, but as far as the amount of money I had to spend per month on building a business that wasn't even my business, what you're watching right now is my business, right? Wealth Journey Collective that I talk about in every single video, that's my business, right? That's the business that owns WealthSync AI, which is the app that I'm about to launch here in a few days. That's my business. This whole platform, everything that I have an extra income stream with my book, right? Wealth Journey. Well, my book is called The Wealth Journey, but still, my book, that's my business. So I was learning about all these things, and I was like, I still want to retire early, and it's obviously possible. I've seen enough examples to know this isn't just a pipe dream, but it will take an incredible amount of work. But you talk to anybody about early retirement, and what's the first thing they say? Okay, even if you do even if you do retire early, what are you gonna do with all that free time? I wouldn't even know what to do, man. I would just, I'd rather work. Look, I mean, I'm not saying I don't have a plan for early retirement. Like I know exactly what I would be doing. I would be doing my business full time is what I would be doing. Y'all know how I do Muay Thai. That's my favorite hobby that I have going right now. I would be in there a lot more. I'll be putting a lot more hours in there. I mean, I've already put a lot of hours in there over the past 2.5 years, but I would be putting significantly more time into my hobbies. I know that I would sleep and wake up when I want to. I know that I wouldn't have to answer to anyone on when to be where. You know what I'm saying? I would have to answer to myself and God, but I wouldn't have to answer to the same people I have to answer to now. And that's not to say that I don't like my job. I enjoy my job now, but we know what the end goal is. The end goal is early retirement, and that has been my goal since I was 21 years old. And I knew that I wanted something to do with YouTube, something to do with business. I just didn't know what, and I didn't know enough about personal finances at that time to actually discuss personal finances on YouTube while being confident and knowing what the heck I'm talking about. The second reason that early retirement is a taboo topic is for the simple fact that people don't think it can be done. And people don't really understand how much money you truly need to retire, or like what that even means. I got a comment. Let me go ahead and read this real quick. Anna says, I've been watching your videos for years, learned so much, paid off $108,000 in 630 days, started a 401k, have 41k there, saved a lot. That is excellent. That is amazing to hear. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much for sharing that. That's awesome to hear. Um, but yeah, they don't think that the early retirement deal can be done. It's like, well, I could never do that. It's like we over analyze and look at this will take forever to retire. But realistically, just read Money Master the Game. It'll break down how retirement actually works, because a lot of us haven't even looked into what the retirement number is, or how you're even supposed to take money out of your account when you are retired. And there's formulas, there's different methods, there's different strategies, but what you need to know is we can't just go off of an age, because ironically, a lot of people aren't even adding to their retirement accounts right now, and they're thinking, yeah, at 59 I'm gonna retire. That is your retirement. Well, if you're doing it the way that it's traditionally done, that is your retirement. The way I'm telling you that it should be done is 401k, Roth IRA first, mind you, 401k second. You can be building your Roth IRA when you get your first ever job in life. You just have to have an income to have a Roth IRA. There is no age limit, as far as like, there is no too young or too old to invest in a Roth IRA. There's 401k, which is when you work your full-time job. Then there's the individual brokerage account, which I show y'all all the time and talk about all the time, and I've spoken about at length now, and spoke about my 8-year journey with investing with y'all, and how I built my net worth into almost $200,000, and I got to my first 100,000 at 28. And so almost like 2 years later, because I just turned 30, almost 2 years later, we're talking about, oh, now it's almost doubled. So if you can just look at how quick your money can double, that's going to be the formula for how quick you can get to that number, whatever that number is. It's going to be in the millions, don't get me wrong, but when you invest and when you build a business, those things happen faster, but it does not go without effort. And that's what I teach on this channel. So like the personal financial topics that are taboo, or things that, like I told you earlier, sound delusional. I might be. But when I really think I can do something, I always end up doing it anyway. So is it delusion, or is it just confidence in yourself, and then seeing those things through to fruition? Because I don't think it's delusion, but I think people could perceive the things that I'm saying as delusion. That's why I always break down the actual groundwork that goes into these things and go from there. So anyway, let me continue. Does that make sense, y'all? Let me know if y'all can relate to anything I just said, as far as like the life insurance and the early retirement being a taboo topic. Because you talk about certain things with certain people, they start acting up. They start laughing. When you get there, let me know. Like, let me know what you did, like as if it's impossible to do. Y'all watch. This whole thing is a documentary of it. Not just Wealth Journal, but Wealth Journey. Like, I have, well, what is it called? I call it the Wealth Journey series on YouTube. But like, that series broke down my entire year of 2024, my mistakes, my strengths, my weaknesses, things that were my financial vices, things that I spent way too much money on and still built my net worth during, right? So I just showed in real time that you can be an imperfect person with regards to personal finance and still build your net worth pretty substantially while doing so. So I've proven that in real time. And then now watch as I tweak those mistakes, and I've done that throughout the majority of this year. I just haven't documented it on the Wealth Journey series because I took a break from YouTube because I was coding an app, and that mess takes a really long time to do. I was not about to pay no $70,000 to no developers that may or may not get the desired outcome I wanted, so I started doing it. Anyway, I've said a lot of things. Let me go down to number 3. Quitting your job is a taboo topic, y'all. How many of y'all know that? Quitting your job is a taboo topic. And it can be a taboo topic for a number of reasons. First, I'm going to take a sip of this water. It is a taboo topic for the simple fact that there is security in jobs, right? And so for me, when I was working my first job, it was such a toxic environment. I mean, people just talk to people any kind of way. It was dirty because it was in the rubber industry. You know, carbon black, if you don't know what that is, look it up. Carbon black's floating in the air, and there's like slurry and this thick, viscous material. It was just nasty. I would go home, like, I'm pretty dark right now, right? I'd go home blacker, and then when I'd get in the shower, this black mess would just roll off my skin, and the bottom of the tub was super black. So obviously quitting my job was on my mind. Let me just put it that way. That wasn't the only thing on my mind, but that was the main thing on my mind, was getting up out of there. I was like, this material, this mess that's getting on my skin, this can't be good. Not long term, so I got to get up out of here. But the main reason I wanted to get out of there was the way that I was being treated. Like, you know, they'd be like, "Oh, thank you." Yeah, that means nothing when you're working a person 80 hours a week and then cutting it down to 74, talking about, oh, on the 7th day you can work 8 hours instead of 12. That's not doing me no favors because I still got to be in the next day for a full 12. So to me, I'm already cooked. To me, I'm already working a stupid amount of hours, and for what, right? So quitting a job is definitely a taboo topic because it's, well, where are you going to go making this kind of money? What if, at least they call it BS, right? So they're saying, like, you're already used to this BS. You don't know what you're going to get at the next job. You're not used to their BS. You're used to ours. So you should stay here. Don't listen to that stupid mess. That's about useless. That's, at some point, enough is enough, and you got to be like, you know what? That's a risk I'm willing to take. And that's straight up what I said to them. That's a risk I'm willing to take. Can't be much worse than this. Not working no 80 nothing hours. So I'll actually loop these in together. Quitting your job and job hopping. But how many of y'all don't realize this? How many of y'all heard from somebody that's old school saying job hopping is bad? Companies don't like that. They won't hire you. Okay, so throughout my career, I have seen so many people job hop. I mean, from city to city, from state to state. And I'm talking after like a year or two. And hey, they're experienced tracks. If you do that 3 times, that's 6 years worth of experience. And how many resumes or how many job descriptions say you need 5 years of experience? Well, you got 6, and they're from 3 different places. 6 years of experience split up between 3 different places, 3 different industries probably. So now you're looking at being more competitive against somebody who doesn't have as diverse of experience. So for me, I don't think job hopping is bad. I just think you should be at a place longer than a year. Now, because you have to do what's best for you at the end of the day. The business, like if your leadership truly, truly cares about you, they will say you have to do what's best for you. We want you to stay, but you have to do what's best for you. And I know because I'm a leader, in my company. And I always tell people, you have to do what's best for you. So for me, it's not a taboo topic, but for a lot of people, it's a taboo topic. And I think that's just fear-mongering, gaslighting, because it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So if you are ever in a situation where you need to quit your job, whether it's family related, whether it's you just don't like it there anymore, you have to look at what's best for you. And both of these are taboo topics because there's fear of the unknown. I even had it like, I went from North Carolina to Nevada. I even had it. I was like, man, I heard the cost of living over there is a little more, and What if going out there and shooting myself in the foot? Because what if I get out there and I'm being worked every day just like I am out here? Except this time I'll be thousands of miles away from my family. 3,000 miles away from my family. I think it's 2,682 miles or something like that from my family. And I talked to a lot of people about it. A lot of people that are close to me, which is not a lot of people, I might add. But then I came to the conclusion, you know what? This is a risk I'm willing to take, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I'm relating these back to my stories a lot because I want you to understand that these are taboo topics until you've experienced the things, right? And then you can say truly that these aren't actually bad. I haven't had any bad experiences with these things. And everybody's experience can vary, but for me, I haven't had bad experience with these things that we're talking about so far. So maybe everybody just is speaking off of regurgitation where they heard somebody say something and they've heard it so many times that they believe it. Or maybe they've even seen examples of people not doing or people doing these things that are taboo topics and saw something bad happen. But even still, they themselves haven't experienced anything bad. One moment, y'all. Got to stay hydrated out here. Let's talk about investing. That's next. That's a taboo topic. In and out of retirement, I might add. Because I speak to people all the time, almost on a weekly basis about this. But a lot of people are not investing in their 401ks because they want more money to themselves, not realizing if they don't put money in their 401k, there will be no retirement. And if you're not investing in your 401k, you are likely not investing in a Roth IRA, and you likely don't know what a Roth IRA is, and you likely aren't investing in an individual brokerage account, investing in stocks and ETFs. And you most definitely probably aren't investing in gold, Bitcoin, crypto, nothing, right? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how a lot of folks are afraid to, or not even afraid, they just want the money for themselves. They're afraid of something coming up, so they want to have as much money to themselves in their bank account, which is doing nothing for them, and at the very least is probably giving them point something in interest on their money. And that's not doing what the 401k is doing. At least with the 401k, the company can match you if your company provides a match. And then they give you half for every dollar you put in. So every $500 in, they put in another $250. And then it still grows and compounds beyond that. And if you do that while the market is dipping and the company still put in half of what you're putting in there, that mess is going to grow drastically. I mean, mine hit six figures so fast I could barely blink before it did it. If we're looking at the time span, it does not take long. So when we're talking about how fast your money can double year over year, just off of you investing and then making more money and then being wise with the extra money, and instead of buying a new car, having a new car payment, having new liabilities, having an extra $700 just go out of your bank account for no reason, not for no reason, but for reasons that don't grow you financially. But then being like somebody who's more financially savvy, saying, I'm going to take that same $700 I would have spent on, extra rent or something like that for more space or for a better looking place or for, a nicer something. Just think of anything. Use your imagination. A nicer laptop, a nicer whatever, because a lot of people don't buy things in cash. They buy them in increments, and it might be $600, $700, $800 a month until it's paid off. But I'm saying, what if you took that same money and put it in investing? How quickly do you think that would double? Because I'll tell you what, if you put $800 into anything that you just buy and it's a liability and now you have it, but the money's gone, that money has went straight to zero. And a dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow. So knowing that, if that same $800 went into an investment and that investment grows and eventually doubles and it takes, let's say, 6 years to double, if it doubles every 6 years, that's pretty good. Whereas the $800 you spent on, I don't know, a luxury item of some kind, I don't have a lot of great examples off the top of my head tonight because I really don't partake in all that stuff. I'm more of a tech guy, so iPad, laptop, iPad, MacBook Pro, iPhone. I'm more of a tech guy when it comes to these things. So maybe that's for me, but I mainly buy those things for business purposes more so than like personal entertainment. But my point remains: if You can spend, like, instead of being afraid of investing in the stock market, saying, well, what if I lose all my money? Okay, the chances of you putting $800 into the S&P 500 tracked ETF, also known as VOO, right? Or SPY if you want to go that way. The chances of that $800 you put in there going to zero is practically 0% that it will ever happen. But the chances of you buying something that costs $800 and you losing $800 goes up drastically. And if you buy it on a credit card, the chances of you spending more than the $800 you intended to spend in the first place is even more. You're likely going to spend $942 paying that off incrementally, if not more. And then that $942 goes to zero. Whereas that $800 could have ended up being $942 by the end of the year, sometime sooner. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we don't need to make investing a taboo topic. We need to make investing something that we're open to talking about and open to thinking about. And if you don't know nothing about investing, I would say spending time on YouTube, on my platform, on Wealth Journey Collective, which I have linked in the description, where I have a course that shows you how to invest in every little thing you need to know from start to finish. And I have bi-weekly calls in which I'm up there literally teaching what I'm doing, and I even teach the losses, the wins. I show every single month what my profits were from investing. I show all of that stuff so y'all can see that this is real and this is not fake and this is not make believe. So we can't be afraid about investing, y'all. We got to talk about it. I'm going to post more investing videos because it's so important. I know they don't get a lot of views, but somebody's going to hear me and somebody's going to listen and somebody's going to tell a friend, and that friend's going to tell a friend, and they're going to start investing. They're going to start a group chat with investing, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, and they're going to be making money because we need to do that. And if you don't have one already, you need a group chat for investing only. Call it the money chat. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody likes to make money, but not everybody likes to hear the word investing, which I find to be very ironic. It's almost like when they say, if you want to hide something from someone, just put it in a book, because people don't read anymore, especially not like they used to back in the day. It's the same thing for investing. If you want to deter someone from making money, just talk about investing and they'll run the other way. Like, that's how I feel about it personally. But there are a few people in my life that I've spoken to about investing that they've applied what I've been saying about it, and they've read the books that I've told them to read, and guess what? They've invested and they've been making money. And you don't invest with the intent to make money, you invest with the intent to grow money, and they're two very different things. Growing money is, I'm not touching this. It's going to keep growing and compounding. And yes, you will be making money, but you don't technically truly earn that money until you sell your positions. And then once you sell them, that money's in your pocket. But I'm saying we're not talking about selling. We're talking about just earning, not touching. The market crashes. I don't care. I'm putting more money in. Boom, it goes up. I'm still not touching. This keeps happening. The same process continues for another 20 years. Or however long you want it to be. You don't have to necessarily attach it to a time frame. You can attach it to like a high percentage return, like 500% plus. And even then, I wouldn't cash out fully. I would just take a little off the top, because by then your portfolio is probably going to be outweighed in stock/ETFs, and you need to have a decent amount in cash, I believe, if you want to be comfortable, because there is a such thing as being cash poor. You can be a high net worth person and be cash poor, and that can be disastrous, because if something does come up and you don't have the money for it on hand, now you got to liquidate investments anyway. And sometimes, if the time is not like ideal and the market is going through a crash, you would be liquidating at a loss. So we got to think about these things, good people. We got to think about these things. Got a few more left. I won't go quite as long as these. But let's talk about how much money you're really making, because that's a taboo topic. And I'm not saying to share with everybody how much money you're making, because jealousy is a thing, envy is a thing. You want to stay away from both of those. Both of those can be very dangerous. People have lost their lives over jealousy and envy. But I will say this. you got to look at how much money you really make and be transparent with yourself. Instead of trying to flex, instead of comparing yourself against the other guy, the other man, whatever the case is, like you got to really look at, yeah, my overall salary says I make, let's say you make 70,000. What I'm here to tell you is that ain't how much you're making. You're probably making $56,700, give or take. That's how much you're actually making, because the rest is going to taxes. The rest is going to old Unc Sam. That's who it's going to. And if you end up not having any withholdings as far as your paychecks go, he's going to be waiting for you. He's going to have something for you because you're going to have to pay either way. So even if it's like, oh no, I didn't withhold anything on my taxes. Okay. So yeah, you pocketed 75,000 for the full year, but guess what? Come April, you're gonna be paying, and it's gonna be more than you think it's gonna be. So that's why I'm telling you, be transparent with yourself. Be honest with yourself. How much are you really making? Instead of trying to flex, instead of, oh, I can buy this now. No. How about putting some of that money away first, right? How about putting that money into investments first? And then once you get comfortable, once your money keeps going up, then you can slowly but surely upgrade your lifestyle. But lifestyle upgrades are going to cost you the opportunity of making yourself rich at a younger age than you ever will ever again. Like, that's the chance that we're talking about missing out on that we don't realize. I'm not going to stay on that topic too long. I could genuinely go for a full hour on that topic alone. But I won't. Y'all got things to do. I got things to do. I got to spend the rest of the night wrapping up this app because it is in the finalized stage right now. I just need to make sure the software updates work properly so that when I do the software updates, they actually work and people's apps don't fall apart. So anyway, y'all don't care about that. Y'all care about this. So talking to your partner about money early on in the relationship, that's extremely important. If you are a person who is dating responsibly, I'm not shaming anybody, but if you're dating somebody responsibly and according to wanting to marry them, because I always tell people, like when I was single, when I was dating for the purpose of marriage. And you're going to scare a lot of people off that way, but it's good to make it known early on because a lot of people just want to hook up nowadays. Not shaming you, I'm just telling you straight up. That's not what my goal was. And you want to date somebody for marriage. So when you want to date someone for marriage, you got to really think about certain things differently. You have to think about how y'all plan to do money when you get married. You have to think about, do you want a prenup? Do you not want a prenup? That's a taboo topic in itself, which I actually didn't write down, but that's something that can be talked about early. And it can be as simple as, how do you feel about prenups? And it's like, I don't feel any way about them. Like, you can lead with how you feel about it. I don't feel any particular way about them. I don't know enough about them right now, but I'm curious, do you have any thoughts on prenups? And that's something that should be talked about, especially if you're a higher net worth individual. And there's different schools of thought. There's different schools of thought with, the church about prenups. There's different thoughts with lawyers and different thoughts within each category. There's rich people who don't believe in prenups. There's, not so rich people who believe in prenups, right? So it just depends on what you want to do. But you got to talk about money in a relationship early on because usually there's a spender and a saver, right? There usually is. There's usually someone who's more likely to go out here spending their last talking about, oh, my bank account zeroed out. Yeah, there's always somebody in a relationship that's more of a spender, even if they're not completely zeroed out in their bank account. There's someone who's more of a spender, and so y'all have to coexist and understand. Look, this is how I want to do money as a married couple, and this is what I plan on very well doing. I can't have you out here messing up the money with your spending. You'd say it in a nicer tone, of course, but you got to let them know, this is really important to me. A lot of couples get divorced over not having their money right, so we can't mess each other's money up. And put yourself in it. Like, we both can't make mistakes. Like, I can't be out here investing a stupid amount of money on the off chance that it goes crazy and we're rich. And you can't be out here spending $1,500 off a whim just because you see more money in the bank account now. Like, you have to be able to have these conversations. Are these easy conversations? They can be if you have them in the right way and you have, like, people skills with your spouse, because there is a difference, spouse slash girlfriend slash fiance slash whatever, right? Anyway, there's a difference between having people skills with everyone else, your acquaintances, your friends, and having people skills with your significant other. There's a difference because they might say things that trigger you a lot quicker than your friends or other people that are your acquaintances and whatnot. So just think about it, people. Just think about it. These are taboo topics now. We got to talk about them because we can't be afraid to have the conversations. One thing I realized early on in life is that tough conversations, like stern conversations sometimes, are a pathway forward. It's like when you're playing a video game, and especially like an RPG game, for my guys out here who have played video games before in their lives. When you get lost and you really don't know where you're going, the moment you hit an enemy, that's right, I'm going the right way because I cleared the enemies out on this side. Now I'm going forward. Okay, where am I at? I think I saw that tree before. Where am I going? There's a bridge. Am I going the right way? Oh, cool. There's some enemies over there. I'm going the right direction. So sometimes when tough conversations hit, you're just moving in the right direction in life, but you may not realize it because of the intensity of the nature of that conversation. A lot of us don't realize that, but it is the truth. And I'm here to tell y'all the truth. That's what it's all about. I'm not a fan of sugarcoating. Anyway, let's talk about how being cheap isn't always smart. Being cheap isn't always smart, good people. It's not, because you'll end up having to replace things more and ironically spending more than you would have by just buying the thing that you should have bought once. It's the truth. You get what you pay for. Sometimes, and I'm not saying that the most expensive thing is the best option. I'm definitely not saying that, because that's definitely not the truth. But I am saying that if you're like, oh, I want to buy this, but I'm going to get this because it's cheaper, sadly mistaken. Think about pots and pans. I want to buy, this cast iron pan or this stainless steel pan that's actually healthy for me, but they're expensive and they tend to stick. I haven't figured out how to season my pan properly so things don't stick. I'm going to just buy something that's a stickless pan. It's cheaper and it's easier. What I'm saying is we can't go the easy route, because guess what? The cast iron pan, the stainless steel pan, is going to be the more expensive option, but it's going to be the healthier option for your organs and for your overall body and well-being. You won't be consuming any contaminants. You do the same thing with a stickless pan or all these other types of pans on the market. You got paint peeling off, a little black paint. Y'all know those little black pans, paint be peeling off after a while. Do you think that's good for you? And that's just an example, but you get what you pay for. Being cheap is not always smart. I made a whole series about frugal living, but that wasn't to say I'm penny pinching every single dollar. I was tripping on one video where I was like, why are you buying water? Look at me now. This is water, y'all. Spring water. Your body deserves the best type of water when you can afford getting the best quality food, the best quality water, food, coffee, whatever it is that you drink that has no sugar in it. That's the best thing for you. And being cheap isn't going to help you. Like, if you buy, think about this. This is a whole liter of water, right? Costs like $2.86 per bottle, but if you buy them in bulk, they're obviously cheaper, right? I could drink like half of it in a short amount of time and not have to run back and forth to the bathroom at all, or even use the bathroom once. It's because when you drink, and I know this is not what you expected for this video, but I'm just using this as an example for cheap versus premium. So It's because your cells absorb the water and you genuinely hydrate yourself. When you're talking about drinking like the little bottle waters at Walmart, you could drink a little bottle like this big. You got to run back and forth to the bathroom about twice. Why? Because it's running right through you. Your cells are not absorbing it because they don't have the trace minerals in them like you can't see that. Like this does. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's like a obviously a simple example, but people don't realize it. That is true hydration when your cells absorb the water versus when you're just it's just running right through you. Sorry, y'all, I gotta be back. Gotta use the bathroom real quick. Y'all ain't seen me do that, and I'm drinking these in just about every single video. That's like my point. When it comes to technology, I can definitely say you gotta spend some money if you want a product that's gonna do what you need it to do, or you'll be just replacing it within a couple of years, buying a new one, and eventually you'll be spending the amount of money you would have spent buying a MacBook Pro. I digress, but that's my point overall. That is my point. I didn't mean to educate y'all on water or technology. I just wanted to say thinking you're being frugal is different. And also, I will say this. My frugal living content took a turn when I was like, look, we're not saving money just to save money. We're saving with a purpose. Look, yes, I'm not buying this anymore, but it's because I'm taking the same money I would have spent to buy this and I'm investing them in stocks. I'm taking the same money that I would have spent on DoorDash, for example, right? Which is last year was crazy. It was like $700 a month. But I'm taking the same money I would have spent on DoorDash and bam, it's not going to DoorDash anymore. Guess where it's going? It's going toward my savings. So there is a big difference as far as what being cheap and being frugal is. I think being frugal is just being smart with your money, not buying everything, not always upgrading your lifestyle. We all like to have nice things, but life isn't all about upgrading and being more comfortable. What that does is it tightens the chains, it tightens the golden handcuffs that could be your career. I don't know. I don't know where you work at, but I do know a lot of people don't want to work forever. But the thing that they don't realize is they think they're going to retire at 59 and a half, and they are not. Because they haven't invested in their 401k or their Roth IRA or their individual brokerage account, and they expect that 59 they're just going to have that amount in their regular savings account to retire, and that's not how it works. Hardly anyone really understands how retirement even works in the first place. How it's taxed, if we're talking about a 401k specifically. They don't understand a lot of things. They don't understand what percentage of their lump sum of money they should be taking out a year to not affect the principal and let it to keep growing, and so they can keep living the rest of their life. And the goal, obviously, at the end of the day is to outlive your money. A lot of people don't outlive their money because they don't do it correctly. That's why you might see older people like 70 and above, late 60s and above as well, working in their career because they have to. Some of them want to. They want to keep busy. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about those that have to. And they're still mistreated, overworked, and underpaid at that. That's insult to injury, and that is something that I won't accept in my personal life. So I'm doing things now, and I have been doing things since I was 21 to put myself in a position to win. And that's really just it. You have to put yourself in a position to win. And when you do that, losing is a 0% chance. Will there be setbacks? Sure. Life is unpredictable, but overall you will win, and that is what's important. Being a financial hero in your family can be harmful. Yes, it can be. You come into some money and you start getting to paying other people's bills. That can be a dangerous game because you will eventually feel it, and you will be one setback or one minor inconvenience away from being in the negatives in your bank account. I'm telling you that now. I don't really need to harp on this too long, but it's a cultural thing where people feel like they owe their family, they owe their friends, or whatever the case is, and they just have a big heart and they try to help, but you have to dial that down and help within reason, help not beyond your capacity. Because if you get to paying their mortgage for them or their rent for them, and it becomes an expectation, and like you're like, you don't gotta pay this no more, and you don't gotta go to work today, and like every man's dream, I think, is to retire his mom. I'm just saying you gotta do it within reason. You gotta be smart about it, and you have to know when is the right time to do so. Not just, oh, I got my first million, I'm a buy this. No, 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 you still got taxes now. Let's not forget about taxes. And then if you buy your mom a new house, that has taxes too. Property taxes to be exact. There's things you got to fix if they get to breaking in there. If things start breaking in the house, you got to fix them. You got to replace the water heater. That's not cheap. Like, there's a lot of miscellaneous things that can happen that you may or may not be prepared for when you start looking out for family. So I would just say you have to look at, I built this thing called a family account. I just started it, so it doesn't have too much money in it, but I started this thing called the family fund, the family help fund, in which that is the maximum amount I'm willing and able, I might add, to help family with. And once that money's gone, there's no more I can give that year. And I've spoken to my girlfriend about it, and I said, look, when we get married, this is something that we need to look at. This is the family help fund, so this is the maximum amount that we're able to help. And then when that money's gone, we both have to agree on the number. And and that goes back to talking with your partner about money early on. It's very important. Some men secretly resent their job but stay for the lifestyle. I wouldn't say some, I would say a lot. Like maybe 80% of men in America, they could resent their job, maybe not so much for how they're treated, but maybe for how they're paid, maybe for the hours they have to work. For me, it was like everything, but I didn't. There was no secrets about it. I straight up did resent my job for my first ever job when I was working at that tire factory. I resented the mess out of that job, but when I was there, it was a secret. But the thing is, you don't have to secretly resent things in silence. Like you can, like what I did something about it. Yeah, I was feeling resentful, but at the same time, I was working towards my exit. I saved $20,000, for example. I was out here putting my resume in state, out of state, because they kept saying, well, where are you going to go and make this kind of money? I showed them I had something for them, and so I did. I was like, who says I have to, where around here are you going to go and make this kind of money? I was like, I don't care if I'm in a different state. I'll move across the country for this. Watch. Oh, got another job at a much better place, much better work-life balance, more pay. Well, the cost of living there is higher. Oh, okay. I know how to manage my money, so thank you very much, but I'm good. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where I was constantly working towards my goal. I did the necessary preparation, so there was no words, no gaslighting, no guilt that anybody could put on me that would make me otherwise change my mind. The only person that I was going back and forth with was me. And that was, oh, what if I get out there and it's worse? But I was never like, what if they're right? I never said that to myself because I didn't care nothing about what they had to say. They were stuck in the same place I was trying to get away from. Why would I listen to them? Y'all understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I got hot on that topic a little bit, but I just had to let y'all know something. If you're contemplating, if you're resenting anything, relationship, job, you have to do something about it. You either have to have a tough conversation or you have to get up out of there. Point blank. 2 more, y'all, and I'm out of here. Men compete financially with each other without even knowing it. And that's a sad thing. Ego is a killer, y'all. Ego is something that, it's a demon in disguise. Being proud, and it's one of the 7 deadly sins. Pride. What do you think ego is? So, in short, oh, he got a BMW. I'm gonna get one just because he got one, but I'm gonna step him up a little bit. The whole time, his bills ain't suffering because of what you did. Yours are. That's really all I had to say about that one. Y'all know where I can take that one, but I'm not gonna do it. And lastly, but not least, you hate budgeting, and we have to talk about why you hate budgeting. And that's a taboo topic because budgeting is one of the most boring things in personal finance. But A lot of budgeting channels are starting to pop off, especially nowadays, because they're making it fun, they're making it interactive, they're building communities around it, they're holding each other accountable. And I think that is just a wonderful thing, and I love to see it. I really do. But what I also believe about budgeting is the reason that budgeting is so difficult is because we can't predict our own money. And when you do it manually, you're talking about spending hours when you'd rather be doing anything else. And I've done it. I've done it all last year. Where because I hate the financial apps they have right now, so I've been just like on a Google sheet, on an Excel sheet. I made this really fancy Excel sheet last year, um, and I was just tracking everything, and I was like, oh, okay, this is great. But it was manual, and it's hard to predict your money when every little thing you do is manual. And then you have human error and things that you might forget to type in, or things that are one-off bills that every 3 to 6 months you get hit with, and you're like, I forgot about that. Next time. But you never put it on your calendar, so you forget again the next time. And this time it puts you in the negatives. And it's like, we don't have to go through these things. But I always say, when you have a problem, you got to do something about it. Something I've done about it was I built a whole app, and it runs off of Google Sheets. I built it literally on top of Google Sheets. So I'm with the thought that I don't like managing my money on my phone. I like managing my money on an Excel sheet, on a Google sheet. So since Google Sheets has more users, I built it on top of Google Sheets. And Google Sheets is free, Excel is not. I built it on top of Google Sheets. Now you can just click a button. I want to see how I spent money for the month of September 2025. I want to, and then it just, you go ahead and click connect bank account, boom. All your spending, all your everything comes up there. Every amount that you spent, every amount that you made is right there. Then AI on the side, boom. You don't even got to read this. That's really just to show you that all your information is there. And by the way, it's not shared with anybody except you. But boom, that information is there. The AI chatbot summarizes which category you spent the most in and what you need to tighten up on. And then there's an AI chatbot screen. You can start asking it, how much money did I spend on average per day in April versus May? And it's going to tell you. What budgeting advice do you have for me? How would you suggest I change my budget to save an extra $200? It will tell you. This thing is very advanced, y'all, and it took me a long time to make, but I'm wrapping it up tonight. I will be going on, I won't even be spending that long probably coding tonight because it's pretty much done, but I do need to make sure the software update works. So I hope to have a demo to you all. It'll be in a recorded YouTube video. I don't want to do it live just because it does not have example information. It literally links with real information. So I don't want all my information in there like, oh, this is where he lives, this is where his utilities are from. Like, that's just kind of weird to me. So I want to make it a recorded video so that way I can blur out the proprietary information and everything. But my point is, it's gonna be about useful. So I look forward to that. I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. I think this one in particular has had more views than all the other ones. So thank you for that. Anna, what's her name? Anna Sabo. That's what it says. She says that she's been watching my videos for years. I appreciate anyone who's been watching me for years because I have not been really that consistent as a content creator, just because first and foremost, I'm a business guy. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a person who has a full-time job. I'm in a leadership position, so I have a lot of other responsibilities and roles outside of YouTube, but I'm working to be a lot more consistent because now I have gotten myself into a better rhythm where I can make content more, but also I've been developing the app for so long and testing it with people and getting feedback that YouTube was something that was going to really add months to the project, so I didn't want to add any time to it. And there have been days where I've spent like 12 hours plus just coding, testing, coding, trying things out. Oh, this failed. I got to try this. Oh, why isn't this working? Google Sheets has a finicky coding process. Oh, man, this ain't working either. So it's been a process, but I'm extremely proud of it. And I hope to have a demo to you all sometime this week or next week. So I even took time off work for this project twice already, and I've pulled an all-nighter doing this project. Like, I've done a lot of work. It's a very special, close to my heart type of project. So it's called WealthSync AI. I will have more information about it in upcoming videos. But if you like to budget on a Google Sheet, this is going to straight up disrupt an entire industry of people who enjoy like manually budgeting on a Google Sheet, because you no longer have to look at, like, for example, even if you had a setup like you have an iPad over here, you have a laptop over here, and you're like, okay, this is my bank, this is my bills, you're going back and forth. This is going to put that to shame, because all you're going to have to do is connect your bank account, and Plaid's going to pop up, and then you're going to connect your bank account, and then boom. And that's all she wrote, y'all. And that's it. And then you're going to have the information. The AI summary box is going to pop up. Yeah, there's a debt page. The debt page will link your credit cards to it. Boom. It's going to tell you based off of how much you're paying off and how quickly you're paying things off. Or, I'm sorry, how often you're paying your credit card and by how much you're paying on it. It's going to straight up show you, hey, this is the date you can expect to be debt free. And granted, it's a rough estimate, but it's very accurate. Will it be a day or two off? Maybe, but it's pretty accurate. So I'm very proud of that. And that has an AI summary. So if you have multiple credit cards, multiple debt, it's going to straight up tell you, hey, if you pay these off in this order, you will get out of debt the quickest. You can save 30 days. That's useful information, right? I've never seen an app do that before. So just saying, there's a Syncfolio page where it has your investments and your savings accounts, and you link both of those, and it shows you how your whole portfolio is laid out. And guess what? If you don't know how or when to rebalance your portfolio, you can see in real time, hey, you only got 3% cash, 97% stocks and ETFs. All right, let me go ahead and get cash back to 10%. And then you do that, and guess what? It's all good again. And then when investments go off again, and then, oh, now my cash is down to 7%, better take another 3% off the top. So if you ever want to know, when do I cash out some of my investments? You cash out this amount to match the percentage that you want to get to for your cash, and that's how much you take out. And it's really as simple as that. But I haven't seen any platforms do that. There's a quarterly and monthly review where if you want to know how you did for a whole quarter, you click a button and it takes all your archived information and gives you a whole report, top 10 expenses for the last quarter, for the last year even. And then the AI summary box, sure enough, is going to pop up for you and say, hey, this is what I got for you this month, this year, this quarter. It's going to have something for you. So it's very, very special. I'm really excited about it. There's a Wealth Journal page where, based off of the information and feedback you're seeing from the AI chatbot, from the AI summary box, from the AI debt page, from the AI investment page, you can make notes to yourself. And guess what? You don't have to add the date or the time, because guess what? When you type a note in, it's going to track the date and the time immediately. As soon as you type your entry in, boom, Wealth Journal, bop, bop, the date, time, and then your email, just to verify that you're the one who updated that at that time, at that date. So when you're looking back on your Wealth Journal, you can look at, oh man, that was my goal X amount of months ago, and I did it. Just saying. And then, of course, there's the My Wealth Journey page where you're tracking your net worth. So I'm excited. You will be seeing that in the near future. Let me just put it that way. Anyway, I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. I am going to go ahead and sign off for the evening. Y'all have a fantastic night. Hopefully y'all learned something very valuable. And I know I went late tonight, but I really wanted to share all this information with you. It's very, very, very special information to me. So, hopefully I'm becoming slowly but surely part of your routine. I know I didn't post a video last week. It's just because I was like, I got to get this app finished. So got deadlines to meet, and so I wanted to make sure I respected those deadlines. Anyway,